Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Imagine the mid-1980s. The Cold War isn't just being fought with nuclear subs and double agents. It's being fought in the crust of the Earth. The setting is a world rapidly digitizing. Supercomputers, advanced missile guidance, and the first cellular networks are all hungry for materials most people can't pronounce. In the gleaming boardrooms of Tokyo and the dusty ministry offices of Beijing, a new kind of power is being brokered. The era of oil as the only strategic liquid is ending. The era of strategic minerals has begun. While the Pentagon worried about the missile gap, the CIA began to worry about the mineral gap. They realized that if a foreign power cornered the market on the raw materials needed for high-tech weaponry, the United States could be defeated without a single shot being fired. This realization gave birth to the economic intelligence policy known as JGICE. How did this initiative get its name? The designation JGICE is an acronym for the Joint Global Intelligence Council on Economics. The J was critical because it represented a then unprecedented cooperation between the CIA's Directorate of Intelligence and the Department of Commerce. It was named to signify a shift from purely political spying to a comprehensive global view of how economic flows, specifically mineral wealth, dictated national security. JGICE was the agency's deep dive into the belly of global trade. JGICE was a CIA-led economic intelligence program designed to monitor the short supply of critical minerals like tantalum, germanium, and rare earth elements in Asia. A quote from a declassified 1984 Directorate of Intelligence memo: "Our national security is increasingly tethered to the accessibility of exotic metals. A disruption in the Asian supply chain is a disruption to our defense industrial base." Records show that JGICE utilized front companies in the shipping industry to track the movement of ore from mines in Thailand to processing facilities in the Soviet bloc. Documentation confirms that the program employed mineral attaches at key embassies who were actually deep cover agency analysts specializing in geology. The initiative created the first comprehensive digital database of global mineral reserves, allowing the president to see choke points in the global market in real time. A quote from an analyst briefing on the National Security Council: "We aren't just looking for spies, we're looking for the molecules that build the satellites those spies use." End quote. Logs indicate that JGICE identified a secret agreement between several Asian nations to artificially inflate the price of tungsten, which was critical for armor-piercing rounds. Technical files reveal the program utilized satellite spectroscopy to analyze the composition of tailing piles at remote mines to determine if they were hiding the extraction of weapons-grade materials. Records prove that JGICE was responsible for the market intervention of 1988, where the U.S. quietly purchased vast quantities of cobalt to prevent a hostile takeover of the supply. The program tracked the shadow banking systems used by mineral smugglers in Myanmar to fund insurgent activities. Documentation confirms that JGICE provided the economic data used to draft the Strategic and Critical Materials Stockpiling Act. Internal ledgers confirm the agency spent millions of dollars on futures contracts to manipulate mineral prices in favor of U.S.-aligned mining operations. Records indicate that the program successfully mapped the entire underground economy of the rare earth trade in rural China. The initiative utilized acoustic sensors near major Asian ports to identify the unique signatures of cargo ships carrying high-density mineral ores. Records show that JGICE analysts predicted the 1990 shortage of semiconductor-grade silicon 3 years before it happened. Internal files reveal that the program conducted sanctions monitoring to ensure that strategic minerals weren't being diverted to forbidden nuclear programs. Documentation shows the program used network analysis to link legitimate mining CEOs to known international arms traffickers. Logs prove that JGICE successfully prevented the sale of a major Australian lithium mine to a front for the Soviet Ministry of Defense. Technical manuals confirm the program used isotopic fingerprinting to trace the origin of confiscated minerals back to specific unregistered mines. The agency established a secret liaison with major electronics manufacturers to receive early warnings of supply disruptions. Records indicate that JGICE was the first program to apply game theory to global commodity trading for intelligence purposes. Data confirms the program identified a lithium gap that threatened the development of next-generation submarine batteries. Records show the program utilized early artificial intelligence algorithms to scan thousands of Asian trade manifests for anomalous mineral weights. Documentation confirms that JGICE established a mineral safe harbor protocol for friendly Asian nations facing economic coercion. Logs indicate the program used deep-sea sensors to monitor nodule mining experiments in international waters. Internal memos reveal that JGICE influenced the most favored nation trade status of several Asian countries based on mineral cooperation. Data confirms the team utilized soil sampling drones to survey contested territories for untapped mineral wealth. Records prove the team infiltrated several commodity exchanges to monitor the private communications of major mineral brokers. Documentation confirms the program was the first to recognize resource nationalism as a primary threat to the U.S. high-tech sector. Records indicate that JGICE predicted the rise of conflict minerals decades before it became a mainstream human rights issue. Internal reports reveal that JGICE developed a specialized chemical marker that could be sprayed on ore shipments to track them via satellite through the entire global supply chain. Agency archives show the program intercepted encrypted telex messages between Asian mining cartels and European middlemen, revealing a plan to corner the beryllium market. Data confirms that JGICE officers held secret meetings in Singapore with disgruntled geologists to obtain stolen maps of state-owned mineral reserves. Records prove that the program used the Directorate of Science and Technology to build portable X-ray fluorescence analyzers for field agents to verify ore purity in seconds. A quote from a declassified CIA economic analysis. He who controls the minerals controls the speed of the next technological revolution. End quote. Documentation confirms the agency used a dummy corporation in Hong Kong to lease specialized drilling equipment to mines, which was actually rigged with listening devices. Logs reveal that JGICE analysts successfully identified a massive influx of illicit Siberian nickel entering the Japanese market through a complex web of shell companies. Internal memos show the program coordinated with the Treasury Department to freeze the assets of a major Asian mineral refinery found to be a front for money laundering. Technical manuals reveal that JGICE created a proprietary software called Market Watch to aggregate global mining news and flag instances of market manipulation in under an hour. Internal reports confirm that JGICE tracked the export of high-purity graphite from South Korea, identifying it as a precursor for stealth aircraft coatings. Logs show the agency successfully blocked a secret acquisition of a Malaysian tin smelting plant by a front company linked to North Korean intelligence. Documentation confirms that the program utilized financial forensics to trace payments from Asian mineral brokers to Swiss bank accounts held by known proliferators of nuclear tech. Internal memos reveal that JGICE provided the data for a secret 1989 presidential directive to stockpile 50 years' worth of yttrium, YTTRIUM. Records prove that the agency embedded signal intercept modules inside a standard geoscientific equipment sold to Asian state-owned mining enterprises. Technical data confirms the program utilized specialized seafloor imaging to track the illegal extraction of manganese by unlicensed Soviet-flagged vessels. Records show that JGICE identified a major structural flaw in a rival nation's supercomputer project due to their reliance on second-grade germanium sourced from the black market. Internal ledgers reveal that the agency subsidized a domestic R&D program to find synthetic alternatives for minerals that JGICE identified as unsecurable in the long term. In the declassified files of JGICE, the heaviest redactions occur in the chapter titled Price Destabilization Operations. According to the FOIA logs at the National Security Archive, these pages contain the most significant blackouts in the history of the agency's economic directorate. A gritty theory among economists is that these redactions hide a operation to crash the currency of a specific Asian nation by flooding the market with synthetic gold. Speculators believe the agency found a way to manipulate global gold prices to bankrupt a rival's mineral buying power. The black ink, they claim, hides the names of the banks used to wash the proceeds. There is a persistent whisper that the redactions hide the location of a hypervein, a massive untapped deposit of rare earth elements found in a disputed territory. The theory is that the CIA is keeping this location secret to prevent a global war over its control. Speculators believe the redactions masked the GPS coordinates of a site that could power the world for a century. In some investigative circles, it's suggested the redactions hide a list of executive sanctions. The theory is that JGICE wasn't just about data, it was about removing CEOs who refused to play ball with U.S. interest. They believe the black blocs are hiding the details of accidental deaths of mining magnates who tried to sell strategic minerals to the highest bidder regardless of national security. A more recent theory suggests the redactions cover up microcontamination programs. Speculators believe the agency introduced impurities into the mineral supply chains of rival nations, causing the high-tech components to fail months after being deployed. The redactions, they say, hide the chemical formulas used to rot the enemy's electronics from the inside out. The most fringe whisper emerging from the redacted files involves a substance referred to only as Mineral X. Some investigators believe the agency discovered an Asian mineral with properties that could actually manipulate atmospheric conditions or local weather patterns. They speculate that JGICE wasn't just tracking industrial metals, but was actually securing the world's first weather warfare element. And the redactions hide the location of the only known mine where this reality-altering ore can be found. Was JGICE a success? Tactically, it was an economic scalpel. It successfully identified vulnerabilities in the supply chain before they could be exploited by adversaries. Strategically, it was a market sovereign. The initiative was a success because it allowed the U.S. to maintain a technological edge by ensuring the flow of essential raw materials. The success of JGICE is found in the preemptive nature. It successfully moved the agency from a reactive stance to a proactive one in the global economy. The agency successfully proved that economic espionage was just as vital as military intelligence. However, the program's success was also its diplomatic strain. It successfully manipulated markets, but often did so at the cost of alienating trade partners. It successfully established the blueprint for modern resource security. The mission was a total success in preventing a mineral embargo during the late Cold War. It successfully integrated geological science with clandestine tradecraft. Ultimately, it was a success because it secured the hardware future of the United States. The program successfully identified the true price of security in a globalized world. It successfully turned the mineral market into a playbook for national defense. Its success is also seen in how it successfully protected the American semiconductor industry from total collapse during the Asian market volatility of the late 80s. Looking back, the operation was a success because it fundamentally redefined national power to include supply chain resilience. It successfully demonstrated that the agency could be a dominant force in the financial world without ever stepping onto a trading floor. While some of its methods remain controversial, the JGICE phase was a success in its primary goal: ensuring that American machine never ran out of parts, Furthermore, it successfully mapped the hidden wealth of the East, giving U.S. policymakers a 30-year head start on the modern mineral wars. The operation was a resounding success in creating an invisible net around the globe's most vital elements. It successfully bridged the gap between pure intelligence and practical economic survival. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, the mineral matrix resulted in breakthroughs that define modern economic warfare today, such as automated trade pattern recognition. The algorithms developed to track mineral shipments are now the foundation of modern high-frequency trading and anti-money laundering systems. Remote spectroscopy analysis. The satellite technology used to scan mines from space is now the standard for environmental monitoring and mineral exploration by private corporations. Supply chain illumination. The network analysis used to link mineral sources to end users is now the primary tool used by companies to ensure their products are conflict-free. And geopolitical market modeling. The use of game theory to predict commodity prices is now standard practice for central banks and global hedge funds. JGICE reminds us that the power of a nation isn't just in its ideas, but in the earth beneath its feet. The mineral matrix proved that the silent movement of ore is as significant as the movement of armies. The ledger books of the 80s have turned into the digital clouds of today, but the quest for strategic minerals only intensifies. We are still living in the world mapped by those early commodity spies. Every smartphone and electric vehicle contains a piece of the matrix they once tracked. The story of JGICE is a story of looking at a rock and seeing the future of a superpower. The matrix is still being built and the agency is still watching the scales. We must remember that in a high-tech world, the most primitive resources are often the most precious. Through JGICE, the government achieved an understanding of the value chain that keeps the lights on and the missiles ready. The program changed, but the mission to secure the Earth's riches remains. It serves as a reminder that a nation that cannot secure its supply cannot secure its survival. In the quiet halls of economic intelligence, the weights and measures of power are still being calculated every single day. By securing the minerals of the past, they ensured the technology of the future would always be made in America. The earth is a map of power, and those who can read it will always hold the advantage over those who only see the surface. Every grain of sand and vein of ore tells a story of who will lead the next century. This operation proved that the boardroom and the mine are the real front lines of the modern era. The silent war for resources continues, but the foundation was laid by the analyst of JGICE. By mastering the subterranean secrets of Asia, the Council ensured that the United States would never be left in the dark. The minerals they secured are the invisible threads that hold the modern world together. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, and remember, the real gold is the information you hold before the market moves. Join us next time as we examine JM Small. In the world of the agency, sometimes the biggest impact comes from the smallest footprint. We'll uncover the facts behind JM Small, the program for discrete, small team reconnaissance and assassination missions. It was a game of surgical precision, deniable assets, and the high-risk reality of the quiet kill. Join us next time for the ghost elements. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.